Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Work at Home Rockstar Podcast. Very excited today. We have a marketing coach who helps people find their spark and never let it go. Super cool. Very excited to be rocking out today with Colin Scotland. Hey, Colin, are you ready to rock?
Oh, I'm ready to rock, Tim. Yeah, excited to be here.
Beautiful. Let's start off on a good note. So tell me a story of success in your business that we can be inspired by.
Awesome. So one thing that really stands out to me when I thought about this is something that was said to me by one of my clients, and it was a sense of the world expanding for her in a way that she never expected it to, in a way that she didn't think would happen when she came to me for marketing help, in a way that opened up new possibilities for her. And just the words that she sent to me in that email, I'll never forget it. She said it changed her life, and it actually changed mine as a result, because it fuels me every single day to do more of that kind of work, to have conversations to lead to those kind of light bulbs and aha moments for the people that I work with. And what a blessing it is to do that in your daily work, right?
Yeah. Isn't it interesting that sometimes when you're the person doing the teaching, you learn just as much from the student as the student learns from you?
100%. Yeah, yeah, for sure. I say that to all of my clients, you teach me more than I could ever teach you. It's so true. So
Yeah.
true.
Well, I mean, and that makes sense because you've got to really relate to them. You've got to create new analogies and new ways to explain things to people based on them. And so it helps you to understand the topic a little bit more too, right?
Absolutely. And the reality of anything like that, any experience, is that we don't have the experience. The individual has the experience, right? So when you're delivering something for your clients, it's the client that has the experience, the transformation, not you. And so that's kind of the whole, like, leading a horse to water but we can't make it drink thing. If we put the water in place, we have everything there to facilitate. It's up to the horse to bend down and take a drink, man.
Sure is. So,
Yeah.
Colin, on these journeys, through business, there are a lot of bad notes that we're going to hit along with the good ones. And I'm
Mm.
wondering, can you share with us something that just didn't go as planned and, maybe how we can avoid it or recover from it?
For sure, yeah. So a few years back, a number of years back, I was doing a master's degree in marketing, and part of the thesis was around internet marketing. I set up an e-commerce business as part of that thesis, and it developed into a multi-million dollar business. Like, blew up, changed my world, and was crazy busy, crazy successful, and it went bust. And in 2013, and I lost everything that I owned in the world. Literally, just went from being super successful to having zero. And the greatest lesson in that for me was that, even though it was a bad thing to happen, people were like going, "Oh, what a shame for you. Like somebody had died, I feel so sorry for you. You've lost everything that you have in the world." Looking back now, it was the best thing that's happened, one of the best things that's happened in my life, because even though it was a failure, a miserable time in a sense, I lost everything. I didn't know how I was going to feed myself and my family. In that dark place came the bright light that is the life that I live today. And it's only because of going through that I can advise people on, how to get up when you fall down on your knees, how to pick yourself up and keep taking those steps forward, because there is light. When you take that next step, things get better, things improve. So although it was a dark note for me, now in retrospectively looking back, it's one of the best things that ever happened to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And it seems like that happens to just about everybody, and that's why I like to talk about the bad note, because I think that we're all just so afraid to fail. We're just so afraid of, something not going as planned. And but then once it happens, yes, it's terrible at the time. But you come through it and you end up being who you are. You end up, learning from it and growing. So, you know, don't be scared of, of the failure, right?
Definitely, there's a beautiful quote by Napoleon Hill in his book Outwitting the Devil, and I'll paraphrase it because I can't remember it exactly, but it's something along the lines of every failure carries with it the seed of an equivalent success. So don't look at that failure as a negative. It's actually a positive if we think of it that way, because we can take that, transform it, turn it around, and make something good out of it. The life that I live now, having conversations with cool people like you, Tim, is a result of that business failing. Had that business gone to the moon, we would never be here doing this today. So, and I'm so grateful for that failure because it carried with it the seed of this life that I live now, where I pinch myself every day because I get to, talk to cool people all day, right? That's my job. It's cool.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and then on the other hand, like oftentimes you talk to people that maybe do have some wild success, but they're not happy in what they're doing, and maybe that has something to do with it, right? They may have played it safe, ended up with a successful quote unquote business, but not necessarily fulfilled. And if they had taken more risks and done something that was maybe not normal, they may have ended up finding, maybe a failure at first, but then they might have ended up finding that calling that makes them feel fulfilled, right?
Yeah, and often it's the failure that causes us to reassess because it gives us that short, sharp shock that we would otherwise have completely just carried on down the same path. Had that business not exploded in a bad way, no doubt I would have carried on that train as long as I could, right? Without that jolt, without that boom, that catalyst, as it were.
Yeah, I
Mm,
hear you totally. So
yeah.
now let's talk a little bit about getting fans and getting people into your business. Now I know that that's your specialty, so I'm wondering, how did you first of all, how did you figure it out in your own business, and then let's transition to how would you suggest we do it, right? If it's not the same thing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I think what's what's really interesting about this is I I started because I was an academic. I used to teach marketing in business school, right? I would coach lecture people on marketing, and when I went into the world of coaching, I kind of thought, oh, I know about marketing. I don't need to have help about that. I kind of have an idea about it. So I would go and I would do a load of stuff, and none of it would work. In the online space, none of the stuff that I'd done to build my business, all of that, it just didn't work. So I struggled to get clients initially. I really did. And I found it frustrating as hell. I felt like I was worthless. I felt like I didn't have a clue what I was doing because none of the stuff that I thought I knew was actually working. And I kind of had a bit of a dawning realization at one point because I was in the aftermath of my business going bust. I was doing part-time jobs to pay the bills and all of that kind of stuff whilst I was trying to establish a practice first as a consultant, then as a coach, and I was going around all the networking things in-person networking in my spare time, and I was picking up clients in those networking events, but nothing online, and this was like frustrating the hell out of me. Really, I didn't understand what I was doing different, what I was doing wrong, and the dawning realization was relationship. The thing that we do when we meet is we look each other in the eye, we create an energetic, emotional connection between two living, breathing human beings. And it was that was missing with the stuff that I was trying to do online. I was like trying to teach all of this stuff that I thought I knew about marketing without any thought for the human being at the other side of the world or the computer. And I think that realization of, oh, it's actually about making relationships, even though it's these people, these invisible people that I can't see online on the internet. It's still about that relationship. That's what's at the core. That's why I was able to get clients. That was why I was able to get clients when I was out networking, but not when I was. Sorry, the dog's barking in the background there. I
That's
apologize, Tim.
okay. Hey, we work from home. It's okay.
I tried to
Dogs are
mute
gonna
it, but I
bark,
couldn't.
garbage truck's gonna go by.
It's all part of the fun. All part of
Yeah,
the fun. But yeah,
exactly.
that was the thing. It was that dawning realization of relationship. And so when you go from a place of trying to nurture and build relationships with people, meaningful relationships and connections, that was when it changed for me. And that's the thing that I focus on now with my clients, because that's the thing that actually works.
Yeah, it's 100%. Yeah, and it is a challenge to bring that same type of energy into an online world. And it's funny because I remember when I first started, like you think, oh man, I'm going to be so much more, successful online because wow, I can reach everybody in the world. This is going to be great. But really, like a lot of my business also came from personal connections as well, and then referrals from those personal connections. So now, how do you do that? Like, how do you create that personal relationship over the internet on an online business? Have you figured out any solutions for that?
So you have to practice it. It's like swinging a golf club. I don't play a lot of golf, but when you swing a golf club, the first time you hit the grass, you don't even hit the ball, right? You're just swiping away. You have to practice, or with a musical instrument, right? You and I both have a passion for that. And when
Yeah.
you first pick up the guitar, it's like, I remember driving my family mad trying to play Bobby Shafto, like bring Bobby Shafto, like shut up, what are you doing? You've got to practice. You've got to practice, practice, practice. And so the same is true with getting fans, right? You have to practice the ability to talk to a camera, to talk in the content that you create in a way that puts a part of you into it. So it's really quite profound, right? Because what we're not doing is we're not playing a game of, oh, if I make this thing, then all of these people will come and pay me money. You have to really go from a place of trying to put the energy of wanting to create that meaningful connection with a single person, even though you're speaking to multiple people, right? So you have to kind of imagine that lens that you're speaking to at the moment to create this piece of content is an individual with a heart that's beating and lungs that are breathing in and breathing out, and feelings and emotions and thoughts and dreams and hopes and desires. Because what that does is that brings a compassion and a love and an energy that is entirely different to how you show up with the content that you create and put out into the world. And if you can show up in that way, boom, people connect. It's just the same then as when you meet in person and you feel a person's energy because you look them in the eye and you see them. You're mimicking that relationship building. That's where the real power in creating that online connection lies.
Love it. Love it. So maybe just put like a wig and a mustache on the camera and you're good to go.
Yeah, I had one client. She was so funny. She sent me this picture of her recording some video content, and she put a picture of me smiling above the lens. So she was like, "I'm just talking to Colin, right? I'm creating this content talking to Colin. Whatever works for you. Yeah, wig, smiley face, all the rest of it. It's all good."
Yeah. But I think you're right on the mark there because I mean that is exactly it. And I mean, I've always found that the more I guess polished or perfect that you end up being, the less human you end up being as well. Because in those conversations that you have, out at the business meeting and all that stuff, I mean, yeah, okay, you probably know what you're going to say, but you're having a real normal conversation. And on camera, yeah, it sometimes doesn't translate as well if you're perfect and everything's perfect and it's very robotic, right?
Well, I don't think it has to be perfect. I think that's the thing. We talked about failure before and that fear of failure. I think if we allow things to be like the dog barking in the background, if we allow things to be perfectly imperfect or imperfectly perfect, that's the key to us making progress. And through making those steps and taking that progress, we make the connection, because we we want to see the real person. That's this buzzword on the internet about authenticity, being authentic. That's really, it's about having a sense of who this person is. And when we are buying something, so my kind of marketing head coming in here, when we're buying something, we have a real sense of, there's a phenomenon called cognitive dissonance or buyer's remorse. You might have heard of it. When
Yep.
we after we've bought something, where we go, oh no, what have I done? Have I done the right thing? I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I should have picked this thing or that thing. Well, that actually, that psychological phenomenon takes place and plays a part before we even take that step and make the purchase decision. And so the way that we solve that is through trust, through credibility, through, oh, Tim really understands me. Tim's got my back. Tim has my best interest at heart. I know I can trust Tim to deliver what it is that I'm looking to achieve. And if you can build that trust with me, then I'm going to hand over my cash. I'm going to have the confidence to fight that question mark of fear and cognitive dissonance and buy anyway and be happy about it and feel confident that I'm going to get those results. So our goal as business owners trying to get people to buy our stuff is entirely focused on that relationship and building trust through that relationship, man.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So we touched a little bit on practice a few minutes ago, but I'm wondering, can we dig a little bit deeper into that? Because I used to say practice makes perfect, but now I'm saying practice makes progress because I think it's perfection is impossible. Plus, if you once you hit it, there's nothing else to do. Find that fulfillment comes from making progress. But I'm wondering, like, how do you approach getting good at what you do and honing your craft, and just all the things that are necessary to get things going?
Yeah, and I think the reality of it is it's not easy. It's a daily journey. We have to take steps every single day, and we have to enjoy the process. And there's a great quote. One of my gurus, one of my favorite marketers in the world, is a guy called Seth Godin, and in his book The Practice, he talks about doing what you love is for amateurs. Professionals love what they do. And so you have to really enjoy the craft and enjoy the process of doing what you do, because that's what we get up every morning. We brush our teeth, we do whatever we do in our day, but we do that daily thing every day. There's a daily duty that we all have to carry out in the process of building whatever it is that we're building, whether it's a business or a job or a family or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. There's a daily element to all of this. And so I think learning to enjoy that process and loving that process is what will help you to make that progress. And so for me, it was, at first I got on camera, right, making content, and I was like, oh, sweating under my arms. I was like nervous as hell. I couldn't speak. I felt like such a bumbling idiot. I was like, oh man, nobody's going to add that little voice in your head. Who do you think you are, Colin? Nobody's going to want to listen to you. You sound like a fool. You don't make sense with the things that you say. And I was trying to be this like confident person on the camera, and I just wasn't. It was awful. And so it's hard to push through that, because to start with, you're not great. The first time you pick up a guitar, I'm not rocking out, I'm not like rocking out some cool guitar riff or anything like that. I'm literally just, my fingers are hurting. I'm struggling to even make a noise that sounds remotely like music. And so the same is true with the practice, with the game of business or whatever it is that we're doing. We have to put the time in. We have to put our energy in to being better at our craft and honing that, because it's through honing the craft that you then become really able to deliver that transformation for the people that you serve. You're truly able to make a difference. You're truly able to show up from a place of love and compassion for that person in front of you that needs your help. And it's when you're able to do that, that's when you're being authentic. That's when you're showing up from a place of truly trying to serve the people that need what it is that you bring to the table. Because you can do it. You can do that stuff in your sleep,
Wow, it's a real coincidence. I have that same voice in my head sometimes. I think we all do, right?
Oh, for sure. Every day, right? Every day. So, coming on to speak to you in this podcast, Colin, Who do you think you are? Nobody wants to listen to what you've got to say, Colin. Don't just tell Tim you can't make it, right?
Yeah, it happens. And I mean, music is a great analogy for all this stuff. Like, if you want to be humble, yeah, try picking up an instrument and try learning it. Like, wow. And then not only that, but no matter how good you get, there's always more. So it's like,
Mm.
years down the road. I mean, I've been playing for 20 years now, and I still I'm terrible compared to some others, right? And it's just one of those things that there's always somewhere to go. And I think that that's probably the same thing that happens when you're learning your craft, is that you can always get better. There's always another place to go. But also, wherever you are right now is better than it was yesterday. So it's a matter of just keep it on, those little things. I remember when I was learning guitar, it was like, okay, I couldn't do anything. And then at first you were just really celebrating just that one chord that sounded clean. Like, wow, all right,
Mm.
woo, I made it. Right. And so, what about you? Like, so do you have any, like, maybe tips on, something very generic that maybe somebody is just getting started in honing their craft? What can they do today to help them move themselves forward?
So I loved what you said about focusing on the progress that you're making, not on where you are relative to other people. I think that's so powerful. There's a beautiful quote by Jordan Peterson that's in his book, 12 Rules for Life, where he says that you shouldn't compare yourself to others, but you should compare yourself today to who you were yesterday. And I think that's I love that you mentioned that, Tim. I think that's really powerful. And I think more than anything, you have to have that singular focus. You have to connect to the reason that you're doing this, right? Whether it's for you or for your family, your kids, your loved ones, whatever it is, you have to connect to that purpose, that sense of drive of why you're doing this in the first place. And then allow that drive to fuel a sense of, okay, I'm going to do this, right? Today's going to be a good day. I'm going to take that step today. Even though I fell flat on my face yesterday, I'm going to dust myself off and I'm still going to take that step today. Because I know by taking that step that I'm going to make progress towards that place that I know I need to be, that place that I know I need to be for me, for my family, for the people around me, whatever that driving force is.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely perfect. So connecting with the why. And I remember when I was first learning guitar, I never ever thought I would play shows, but I wanted to be able to play around a campfire. And I remember just like that is what kept me going. I would think back to it. I'm like, no, I just got to get a couple songs in so that I can just play around the campfire. And I remember just consistently connecting back to that. And it's the same in business. If you've got that why, then you will stay connected to the pain of getting through learning what it is you need to learn, right?
Yeah, definitely connecting to that why and allowing that to fuel you through the negative, the failures in quotes, right? Because we know that they're not failures; they are seeds of successes, right? So allowing those things to fuel you to push forward, to take that step, and keep going, keep attached to that for sure, man. That's where you can always make progress today, tomorrow, the next day. And then, you pick a guitar up for 10 minutes a day. Guess what? In a week, you'll be able to play some chords, right? In a few weeks, a few months, you'll be playing and strumming and picking and doing all kinds of cool stuff that you never even dreamt was possible when you
Yep.
first picked it up. The same's true in business, in anything, in any pursuit. So we have to connect, we have to pick it up, we have to play, and then we have to do it consistently. We have to just be consistent. So be consistent. The trick to consistency is always anchoring yourself in gratitude and your why and your purpose. That's the thing that allows you to tune in to that. I can do this. I get to do this. Wow, I can do it, right? Even the tough stuff, even the bad stuff. I can do this. I can do it.
Yeah. Now I remember when I was learning guitar, I happened to have some really good friends that actually even one of my roommates that played music. And so every once in a while I would be struggling with something, and I'd go out and we'd be jamming and I'd see them play and I'd be like, oh, that's how you do it. And I remember just quick lessons, just just, hey, how do you do? And they would show me something and it would just catapult me forward. And in business, if you want to do it alone, you can. However, sometimes you can get some benefit from working from other people. So I'm wondering, what about you? Like, how do you view, like, do you think you need a coach? Does it helpful, or what would you do?
So for the first few years after my business went bust and I was trying to create this business that exists now as a coaching practice, I, I guess I thought I knew everything I needed to know, didn't need the help of anybody. Oh, I was an academic in marketing. I understand. I've built my own business. Yeah, it went bust, but I built it. I knew how to do it. And I kind of thought, I've got this. I don't need help. I can do it. Yeah, let's do it. And do you know what? That probably set me back 4 years at least. 4 years for sure. Because I didn't appreciate or understand the concept of standing on the shoulders of giants. The path that you want to walk on, somebody's walked it. No matter where you are in the pathway, there's people ahead of you, there's people behind you, there's people alongside you. And we all share this experience of consciousness with whatever we choose to experience, whatever pathway we take. There's always people around us who are sharing the same experience. And so how much richer is it if we get to share that experience with others? Because in doing that and sharing our experience with others, then our life is enriched. Just like that client that sent me that message saying, wow, this changed my life. Well, I can't tell you, that makes the hairs stand up on the back of my neck thinking about the difference that's made in that person's life. So it helps you, but also it helps the people around you as well, because we lift each other up. So in looking and asking for help, and seeking that community, that support, that accountability, whatever it is that you need, everybody wins. The rising tide raises all boats, We all benefit, we all grow, we all develop, and there's abundance for everybody as a result of connecting and looking for that help around you, because it's there. The people are there. They need your help as much as you need theirs, and we can all benefit. We can all benefit from seeking it.
Love it. Absolutely agree. 100%. So now it's time for your guest solo. So tell me what's exciting in your business right now.
Oh, so that testimonial, this is like funny, right? So that testimonial that I shared with you, that was a real good note for me in my world. When that came in, it triggered a whole host of things going on in my life and business, and a reassessment, a reevaluation of what I'm doing. I did a series of research with the people that I've done coaching one-to-one with. And although I'm a marketing coach, right? I teach people how to build the engine of marketing in their business. Not one single person mentioned the work that we'd done in marketing. I was like, what? What's this, right? It's not, where's all of the marketing stuff that we've done? They all talked about confidence as a business owner. They talked about clarity of what they want to achieve and how they're going to achieve it. None of them talked about marketing. And it really made me scratch my head wondering what was going on. And when I looked into it, it was the things that we'd brought up in this conversation type environment, the energy, the excitement, the light bulb moments, the aha, the I get to do that. What? Whoa, right? So that sent me in a completely different direction, where I'm currently creating a program called Awaken Creator, which is the essence of what I do in my coaching practice, without all of the some of the marketing mechanical bits are in there. I can't help myself. I quite like it. But it's more about that connecting with your why and doing the stuff that gets the progress happening for you. And so that's the thing I'm playing with at the moment that's got me all excited, Tim.
Awesome. So how do we find out more about this then?
So all of the stuff we've spoke about today, the connecting and all of that, you can find out more about that on colinscotland.com. It's all in there. Most of the stuff I give away for free as well, so you can check it out and have a play around with it.
Awesome. Colinscotland.com. Thank you so much for rocking out with me today.
Absolute pleasure. It's been a privilege to be here and chat with you, Tim. Thank you.
Awesome. And to the listeners, make sure you subscribe, rate, and comment. We'll see you next time on the Work at Home Rockstar podcast.